I'm telling you, I have had it, like, at work or in the morning, and you just get a little buzzy. And I actually looked on the label, and it says there's, whatever tiny percentage of alcohol. But, I mean, I imagine he's a pretty big guy, though. I don't know. And
decent-sized guy, yeah.
He drank
over 200.
a lot of them.
Yeah, that's what we don't. So we don't know whether this is a really lame
I'm a
defense.
lightweight, like I said. I get, I have like one sip of wine, I'm buzzed.
The kombucha, and what are the benefits? There is energy, and is it something beyond that for you?
Yeah, it's just I do think it's definitely energy.
Mm-hmm.
I always drink a green juice or a kombucha. Just I don't know. I just feel feel
better.
good,
yeah.
And I actually like how it makes me feel. I like that little kind of. It's like almost like a little sparkling water. It has that like fizziness to it in a way, but with a bit of a bite and a little tiny buzziness that comes with it, which is quite nice.
Oh, there you go. We had a hunch that
it's not good for work.
Yeah. Well, did you learn that the hard way?
Make sure you put some in your fridge there in the studio and try a couple.
Well, I think we should now. Guardsy, I think were you experimenting with it over the weekend?
No, I said before my show yesterday I've been up all night drinking kombucha. I was just trying to be a smart ass.
My wife loves.
I'll go to Whole Foods and get some.
She loves kombucha. Yeah, and I have not noticed her getting buzzed on it, but and she's very little, so maybe she does. I don't know, but it's interesting in the timing because. I don't know, because some kombucha experts who have emailed us and even called have said, man, to even get that reading, though, even though it's got a little bit of alcohol, you would have had to, they just think it's unrealistic, other than if you're, just drinking it out of a garden hose. Yeah. So I don't know what the case is involving the Vikings receiver, but it's good. Now, is it better with goji berries, or is that immaterial? Do the goji berries go better with kombucha? Yeah.
I'm just waiting for them to come out with goji berry flavored kombucha.
That would make some sense.
I get it all in one.
Is there such a thing as goji berry juice or goji berry extract?
I don't know. I just get the dried goji berries and I throw them in a smoothie.
Oh, is that what you do?
Isn't that what you do? Don't you make your smoothie every morning?
No, I don't. Again, my wife's a lot healthier than I am about stuff like that, so she is a big smoothie fan. I don't know if she's used goji berry. She uses a lot of stuff that I can't drink because it's too healthy.
Right. Goji berries would give you way too much energy.
Seriously?
You'd bounce off the walls. Yeah, they're full of energy.
Oh, it's good to know.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well,
no alcohol, though. No alcohol.
That's important for you, obviously, to find out as well.
So it's best to eat goji berries with a glass of wine.
On business days for you, it sounds like.
How does my credit score affect me?
Companies use your credit score to predict how likely you are to pay your bills on time, based on the information in your credit report. The higher your score, the more likely you are to be approved for things like loans and credit cards, and pay less for them. If your credit history is good, your credit score will be too. Check your credit reports often to make sure that everything in them is accurate. And if you find mistakes, there are steps you can take to fix them. To learn more, go to ftc.gov/creditmatters.
Salesforce presents a mini meditation. Unplug your mind, Minneapolis. Leaving all your devices to their own devices. Ignore your smartphones, headphones, tablets, gadgets. Let them all recharge so you can refocus on your customer. On your path to customer success, focus your teams with a single 360-degree view of your customer with Salesforce Customer 360. Find customer focus at salesforce.com/360.
You learned that. Maybe you learned that the hard way. We'll hear that story some other time. All right, now.
Yeah.
You got well, first of all, let's introduce this story by asking you who Gatsby is.
Gatsby is my golden retriever. We rescued him or adopted him when he was about a year and a half old, they think. And he came from a rescue group that rescues dogs from South Korea dog meat farms.
And how did you come to get to know about Gatsby and then Gatsby's story?
We were in the market for a golden retriever. We knew we wanted one, and I wanted to adopt one. So I started reaching out to rescue groups, and I was on the road last year in New Hampshire and Manchester covering politics and Trump. And one of the groups I'd reached out to, I didn't know where they get their dogs from. I was just contacting groups, who they're like these golden retriever rescue groups. So she said, I have this dog coming in this weekend. And I said, great. She sent me a picture. He looked so sweet. And I said, I'd love to meet him. And then she brought him over to my house a couple weeks later and found out that he had been rescued from a dog meat farm. There's about 17,000 dog meat farms in South Korea. It's unique to South Korea, even though they do eat dog throughout Asia. But they're the only ones that have these farms. And Humane Society International has been going in for years now and trying to convince the farm owners who, they give them money, they pay them, they work out a deal that they'll never go into the dog meat trade again, and they pay them to start, growing crops. So they get them set up with chilies or blueberries or whatever they can, and they take these dogs because right now South Korea is killing like 2 to 3 million dogs a year, and across Asia, 30 million.
And how many?
So
and how many?
Really.
Well, and how many of these? I was going to say, how many of these countries is it legal to sell dog meat?
It is legal
in all of them.
Yep.
Okay.
But a lot of them are turning away. I mean, really, what you have to understand is like how these poor dogs live. I mean, they're they're in cramped cages. They're like these raised wire mesh cages that are above the ground. They don't have any shelter. They eat once a day with like food scraps. They get water once a day. They never have any, love or attention. And, you're a dog owner. I mean, that connection is all a dog cares about. So, it's a horrible life for them. And so these countries do allow it. I mean, going on right now in China is what's called the Yulin Dog Festival. I put festival in quotes because it's basically the dog meat festival where they sell dog meat at the festival, and it's a big deal. And every year the government cracks down more and more, and, there's fewer and fewer dogs allowed to be on display. So it's moving in the right direction, but, it's certainly not enough. And, but some countries like the Philippines, Taiwan, some of them have already banned it, that you're not allowed to participate in the dog meat trade anymore. So that's a good thing, but there's still plenty of other countries like,
Sure.
South Korea, China, all of them that are still allowing it. So it's great that the Humane Society and other groups are sending in teams and paying off some of these farm owners. And the thing is that, this is a tradition, so I get it. But a lot of the younger people, like the younger generation, say in South Korea, are now voicing concern. They're embarrassed of their family members who are doing this, who are older. This is all they know. So a lot of the farmers are now, luckily, looking to get out of the business because their families are embarrassed of them. The meat trade isn't as strong as it used to be because people don't want to take part in it anymore. So that's a good thing. But, when I imagine, like, my sweet golden retriever living that way, I mean, I just think how lucky he is that, he got out of there. It's incredible.
I can recall the Summer Olympics were in Seoul, South Korea, in 1988. And I'd just been in Minneapolis for like 3 years. That was the first Olympics I covered here. And, in preparing, we had done some stories, and there were a lot of rumors about that issue in preparation for the Olympics, and there was some effort on the part of the government to sort of hide those activities. And I still, to this day, remember going into a KFC in Seoul, and just because we were in a hurry and we were hungry and we recognized us, we went in there. And about halfway through, the acerbic writer I was with on that day, and I don't remember who it was, made some crack about how, man, it just doesn't seem to me there's a lot of meat on this chicken. And then that ended the meal for all of us, because then that's all because we're already thinking about it. And who knows? It might have just been chicken what we ate, but it was in our consciousness even then as an issue. And I know the government at that point was very sensitive about it because obviously there were going to be media members coming from all over the world. And that goes back to to 88.
Yeah, but it's coming up. It's going back to South Korea in 2018.
Good point.
So
yeah,
it's been a huge issue. Like, how do we deal with this? I mean, when you look at the pushback on the Yulin Festival going on right now in China, now South Korea is wondering how to deal with it, because I think, from what I understand, some of the athletes are speaking out about it. It's a really big deal, and I just feel like, for me, I'm so passionate about it. The more voices that get out there and talk about it, and people like I wrote this opinion piece on CNN.com.
We have it on linked. It's on our show page right now. People can read it through us. Yeah,
great. So hopefully people will read it, and then they can really learn, because I didn't know anything about this. I had no idea about these dog meat farms and this dog meat trade and how how
I didn't know how extensive it was.
I won't go into the details on the radio, but I mean, it is just awful. And I'm sure people learning about it for the first time, I've gotten a lot of, response to the article, and it's just, they want to help. What can they do? How do they do this to these animals? And, I mean, the same holds true for all the animals, anybody who, cows, pigs, whatever it is. But, these farm owners, not only do they kill dogs, but they have dogs as pets. And somewhere they see a line between that. Somehow they're able to, square that in their mind that you can have a dog as a pet, like one is a meat dog and one is a pet dog. And these are golden retrievers, and these are huskies, and Saint Bernards and Chihuahuas. These are dogs that we would have as pets. I mean, these are not street dogs or wild dogs. They either steal them or they raise them or whatever it is. So it's just shocking.
How long have you had Gatsby now?
A year and 3 months. And, as I write in the article, I mean, it wasn't easy. Any rescue dog you can have your own issues with, as people know. But he just was very dominant.
Mm-hmm.
He was a year and a half, like I said, when we got him. And he was, he didn't trust us. Everything was sort of a battle. He didn't know how to walk on a leash. He didn't understand our commands in English. He had never had any training at all. So even if even if he understood us, he didn't know any, and he had no training at all. Now he does, tricks, and he's a total love bug. But he couldn't even sit on the couch with me. He wouldn't snuggle with me. He'd just get wild if you tried to, put your arms around him because he felt like you were, trying to maybe hold him down or something. And he had some issues, but after about 6 months of really a lot of work, it shows you that any of these dogs, they can be happy, healthy, any rescue dog, so it's just so nice to see, because now he's just like, he's like a Velcro dog, as they say. He has to stand right on top of me. If I move rooms, he moves rooms. Wherever I go, he goes, So it's pretty cute.
But your point, as you write in the piece, the transition it didn't take 2 weeks. There was definitely a process, especially when you're talking about a dog that was sort of enduring the kinds of conditions that you write about.
Yeah, I mean, we just, we didn't know. We just thought, we're going to get this, sweet little golden retriever puppy who had been in a cage his whole life in South Korea. We didn't really know. So whether it was, fear or torture or whatever whatever he witnessed or whatever they did to him, it took him a little while, but it's interesting because he really, he loves my husband and he really trusts him, but, it took a while for him to, so he's not, afraid of men. He's not afraid of anybody. The more hands petting him, the better. But, it just took him a little while to trust. He paced around, a lot for the first few weeks. He just didn't really know, what's next. You know what I mean? It's, it was just strange. There was no connection, and now there's a connection because they have to know that you're not going to hurt them, and you can trust them, and you're going to feed them and give them water more than once a day, and it's just he's like a totally different dog, which is what the group said when they said in 6 months you won't recognize him, and I said their timing was absolutely right on.
Well, as I mentioned, the story is linked on our show page for those interested. It's a nice read, and as we wrap up, I do want to bring one email to your attention from a regular emailer contributor by the name of Larry Mondello guy, who writes this. My sources say shortly before her infamous marijuana report, Randy had also downed a gallon of kombucha. Can she confirm? You knew that was coming.
No. I'll tell you, before that infamous marijuana report, I didn't need any kombucha. Let's put it that way.
Would have been overkill, is what you're saying. Yeah, no need.
I would have been on the floor.
Everything else good with you? Work good?
Yeah.
No controversies, crises? Everything's good?
No, everything's all good. No crises, no controversies, just, whatever's coming out of Washington.
Full speed ahead.
We're watching it.
You're on top of it. Well, it's good to catch up. I'm glad you're doing well. You sound good, and we appreciate you thinking of us. We'll talk soon.
And congrats on your new pup. I heard you got one.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thanks, Randy.
All right, we'll talk soon.
Take care. Randy Kay on the Whiting Clinic LASIK and Eye Care hotline. We are a Talker Tuesday on a Monday, really, the rest of the way. AP Sports Guy had to go early today. And that means basically all we have left is the top 5 at 5 and a number of stories to get into between then and 6:30. I'm sure we will preview the suddenly red-hot Twins continuing the road trip in Boston, Massachusetts. We'll give you some more details on the apparent resolution in the Michael Floyd Great Kombucha Controversy case as well, and the very latest Ricky Rubio rumors. Stay tuned.
Barreiro. Bumper to bumper with Barreiro.